How's he got away with it?
We've all got drafts. We've all brought our teams in today. And I want to show them off. The most underrated player in FPL.
I think he's phenomenal.
There's one team that stands above the rest. Hello and welcome back to Stick to FPL Season 2, now on the FPL Mate channel for the new season. Of course, we're still on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, and I think that's the same thing. And also Spotify, of course, under Stick to FPL. But if you're watching on YouTube, you now got to watch it on the FPL Mate channel. Sorry about that. We are back for a new season and things have changed up just a little bit. But there is one thing that has not changed. And he picks his team based on vibes and a little bit of eye test. But don't let that fool you. He still has a top 10k finish in his locker. Introducing, once again, my friend and colleague, Sim. Hello, mate.
How you doing? That was a very, very kind introduction.
Yeah?
I think that's the best I've been introduced before in my life.
Wow, okay. Well, good start then. Good start.
Good to be back. Season 2 officially here. A lot of people were asking. People were in all sorts of comment sections saying, please bring back Stick to FPL.
Yep.
I can't live without this. But here we are.
I think they missed you. That's what happened. They've watched too many FPL Mate videos and they're like, where's Sim? Like, get him back. But that is not all. Wait, there's more. Yes, because we have a guest today. A guest who helped us out a little bit at the end of last season. And this guy, he is a data and analytics man leading the charge, pioneering the new way of playing FPL. It is, of course, FPL Fran.
Thank you guys for having me on for season 2.
Yeah, welcome back, mate. I think a good guest to get started because people are probably familiar with you already through you being on the shows last season. But guys, I want to get cracking. We've all got drafts. We've all brought our teams in today, and I want to show them off. And I want to see your team first, Fran. I can't lie. I want to set the bar high. And then we'll gradually go to the teams that are worse and worse and worse until we eventually get to Sim's team.
It's just going to be the highest old players. I don't know why. I don't know why we're doing this.
Look, we got to do it. So this is Fran's team. And guys, this is, of course, on the Fantasy Football Hub My Team tool. If you want to check out your team rating, make sure you check out Fantasy Football Hub using the link in the description or on the link tree to go ahead, get that rating and start planning, building your team using their AI ratings. But, Fran, do you want to talk me through this?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of my drafts are centered around having Salah and Palmer and as non-negotiables, and then I work from there. So then I have Watkins and Bruno, and I'm very big at the back, I think, compared to most, which then leaves me with a little bit of money to spend over the sort of forward and midfield positions. So then my kind of, I guess, more niche picks are Strand Larsen, Jorginho Rutter, and Lucas Paqueta from West Ham. This is mostly driven by Bruno is just really good at being a balancing piece between open play numbers and DEFCON. So I think my first drafts didn't really have him. Then I kind of saw, how, for example, even like hub projections look for his DEFCON numbers, things like that.
Just to interject here,
exactly.
For those of you who are new at FPL, DEFCON is defensive contributions, the new points in FPL. 2 points for every 12.
10.
For a midfielder, it's 12.
12 defensive contributions.
C-Brits, yeah, I call them.
Yeah. So what's C-Brit? What does that say? Clearances?
It's clearances, block shots, recoveries, interceptions, tackles.
Boom. Perfect. Sorry to interrupt you there, Fran, but we need to make sure we keep this podcast on a lowest common denominator.
No, it's true.
Sorry, guys, if you are part of that group, but yes, go ahead, Fran.
No, it's a fair point because Bruno did get a price rise, and I think part of it was FPL thinking that he's going to get a bit of a points boost because he's one of the few more higher priced midfielders who actually does quite frequently get these points and hit that threshold of 12. So he's quite interesting. The kind of niche picks, if I were just to walk through them briefly before we go back onto defense. Jorginho is someone that I almost think is like João Pedro from last season. He should have a good share of striker minutes, a good share of minutes at the 10. We've seen O'Reilly even linked with the move away potentially. Might have penalties. I don't think he's going to be like João Pedro in that sense, but I think he's at a really nice price point where I don't think there's really good top half of the table attacks and attackers that are at the sort of price point. So I think he's going to be nailed to start the season. He's kind of my one punt in this draft. Paquetá, fresh from not getting banned from football.
Yeah. Second chance at life.
How's he got away with it?
I don't know.
Because he's innocent, Sim. He's an innocent man. You need to respect that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so obviously we don't have him for the yellow cards, but instead he's a bit of a balancing act where, in theory, we still think he's on West Ham penalties. He's never missed one in his career. I think he's 6 for 6. Not that they get a lot, but I'm hoping that his minutes will be a bit better, in terms of more consistent minutes and starts under Potter. And then you also actually have someone who, oddly, is a bit of a center mid at times, so he does actually frequently get these defensive contributions that we talked about. And then my last pick, that's a bit more niche in the attack, is Strand Larsen. I mean, he scored 14 goals in the league last season. I think he's on penalties. I'm happy to debate anyone who thinks Arias is on penalties. But I subscribe to your main man up top, your alpha, if you will, being on penalties. I think he should be. And then defense, you can see probably no Arsenal, no Liverpool, which a lot of people, I think, in previous FPL seasons would have been extremely shocked by. But it's a case here of actually, when we looked at the numbers last season for the defensive contributions, and once again, Hub's already almost projected this as part of the points model, but you can see Murillo and Tarkowski were amazing. They were actually the 2 best defenders in the game for that. And as long as I think an Everton and a Nottingham Forest are still pretty good at getting expected clean sheets, then they're really solid picks. Porro's probably the differential, but that's more spurred on by he rotates quite well with Estev, who's I'm going to use, for example, for game week 2 when Porro has City, but he just has some really good games to start, like Burnley at home for game week 1. And then Anderson is that gap filling 4.5 defender. I feel like one thing that's a bit underrated this season, because I'm always a bit more analyticsy with my draft. I think I kind of you probably would have noticed a general trend of having a lot of rotation. Maybe I have 8 attackers at a certain point in time. Maybe I even have the full use of 5 defenders. And so in the past, I think we probably didn't put a lot of value towards a 4.0 defender, even a 4.5 defender to an extent. But I think these defensive contributions, because they also now apply to defenders, and to kind of explain how they're different from the midfielders and the attackers, the threshold is 10 to get these defensive contribution plus 2 points. So it's the same in that sense. You either get the plus 2 or you don't on a per game basis. But it's only for CBITs, which are clearances, block shots, interceptions, and tackles. So that's kind of what's driven a lot of the draft. And Anderson is a good pick where Fulham were actually a really good defense last season, but just didn't get a lot of clean sheets. I'm kind of backing them to do a bit better.
It was the biggest underperformance defensively
of
the Premier League last season, which is uncharacteristic for them as well, because they usually slightly overperform defensively going back some previous seasons. So I think Fulham certainly are like sleeping giants in terms of looking for clean sheet points for sure.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the draft, rounded off by Sanchez, who I just think at 5.0 with the run of fixtures that Chelsea have at the start is a really solid pick.
Yeah, I like it. I have a few notes. Or more questions, actually. Because I really like this team, by the way, Fran. I want to preface this by saying, like, what we're going to look at my team, it is pretty similar. Mm-hmm. There is 2 things I take issue with in your team.
Yeah.
So the first one for me is you've gone for 2 6 million midfielders, and I think the template would probably be more to 1 6.5, 1 5.5 perhaps. Yeah. Do you fear at all that you are locked out of 6.5 million midfielders, should one emerge within the first couple of weeks? Is that something that you're worried about at all? Making that transfer?
No, I think that's a fair point. But I'm also not expecting that any of these midfielders would be players that I sell within the first 3 weeks.
Okay,
so
sure.
A little bit down the line, I almost think that, we have a lot of interesting 6.5 picks, but equally we have some pretty interesting 5.5s.
That is true.
For example, I don't have him right in my draft right now, but like Tijani Reinders, for example, like if he actually seems like the real deal, it feels like I still have options to fall back to, so I haven't been too worried about having the 6s. And then in the front line, because there's also like where I would spend another 0.5, like I've bypassed the Fulkrug, the Igor Thiago tier to go for Strand Larsen for a similar reason, because I do think you can fall back on the other picks, but I would find it really hard to move back to Strand Larsen, whereas in the midfield I feel quite comfortable dropping down.
Yeah, I mean, I do really like the Jorginho and Paquetá picks. Like, they are nice. I don't know if I'd be brave enough to go for both of them, to be honest. But like, I like them individually for sure. My only other thing that stops me from calling this a 10 out of 10 team, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10, Fran. I can't lie. The only other thing is, presumably Anderson is coming in to cover certain game weeks, right?
The Fulham defender, yeah.
Yeah, Fulham Anderson. He plays Man United game week 2, where presumably you'd want to bench Pedro Porro against Man City.
Yeah.
Is that sufficient cover? Do you feel confident enough in Fulham that they can get a clean sheet against Manchester United, or at least keep the score low so that he can get his presumably two extra points for defensive contributions and then an additional 2 points?
Yeah, I was actually thinking I'd probably play Esteve over him.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Oh, that makes so much more sense. All right, well, ignore me. I'm an idiot.
No. No, but it's an interesting point that you raise, right? Because Anderson actually does rotate well with the Nottingham Forest and the Everton defenders. So I think Nottingham Forest have Arsenal in game week 4, and then Everton have Liverpool in game week 5. So actually, if you look a little bit further down the line, like Fulham actually has some really good fixtures in 4 and 5, which is sort of what Anderson does for me in this draft.
Nice. All right, fine. I stand corrected. No, you know what? I like this. Sim, what are your thoughts?
I get this.
You get it?
You get it.
I understand why you would pick this draft.
Right.
And I think from your perspective, it makes a lot of sense.
From my perspective.
No, like...
Tell me what you really think.
No, I'm not... I was going to go down the obnoxious route, and I'm not trying to do that. Like,
oh, please do. I would love it.
Go for it.
No, because I don't want to be obnoxious just for the sake of it, because you spent a lot of time thinking about this, and clearly it makes sense, right? I think there's a few gaps, right? The first gap is, first of all, I just hate the Bruno pick, because not because of Bruno, but because of where he's likely to play, right? Yeah. They've just signed Sesko, they've signed Mbeumo, they've signed Cunha, they're playing Ahmad at right wing back, so Mbeumo's not going to be there. Yeah. So Bruno's going to be a CM.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I've got issues with that, because when that happened at the start of last season, because Mount was playing in the 10, Bruno was shit.
Language.
I forgot I can't swear on this channel. I think that's my big concern with Bruno. And for 9 million, there's so much fun you can have in that position. I feel like you're not having fun there. You are having fun, but you're having fun where it least counts. And it's like, other than Jorginho Rutter, I just don't see any of your fun picks really like doing something that's needle moving, right? Paquetá might pick you up a 6-pointer when someone else that people pick might get a 2 or 3-pointer, right? You're not realistically expecting Paquetá to get a 9-pointer or a 10-pointer.
Only takes a penalty.
But come on, like,
it's not gonna happen every week.
Exactly. But. It's decent. I think Jorginho Rutter probably a lot more fun compared to the Paquetá and Strand Larsen picks. I think Strand Larsen again is reasonable, but Strand Larsen with and without Cunha last season was very poor. He was good without Cunha. Was it the other way around?
Yeah, he was better without Cunha. Is that right, Fran?
Yeah, it was. But...
Okay, that's my mistake then. So Strand Larsen in that case, solid pick. The defense, maybe I'm being stupid here, but I feel like defensive contribution points have been given so much weight.
I knew you were going to say this.
When it's 2 points.
I knew when I was driving up here, I was thinking, we're going to talk about defensive contributions, and Sim is going to be like, what is this woke nonsense?
No, but it's 2 points.
It's just math, though. It's like clean sheets.
Exactly.
Your clean sheet averages are kind of span between like 20 to 40% as an average each week, whereas some of these like defensive contribution midfielders are getting those 2 points 60% of the time because they're that good at it. And I'm speaking specifically to Murillo and Tarkowski, who are, if you kind of like charted all the players in the league and their averages for these kind of defensive contribution numbers, they're still miles apart from the rest. Like Murillo is miles apart from Milenkovic. Tarkowski is miles apart from Branthwaite. So that raises your percentage chance of getting those 2 points by 10, 20% in a single game. And that slowly adds up, right? Which is sort of the logic behind that. It's not too different from, let's say, if I went for an Arsenal defender who doesn't get any almost percentage chance of getting defensive contributions because of the way that they play. They just don't lose the ball enough. They control way too much of the ball. Villa and City are very similar. Whereas, actually, when you look at the way Forest and Everton play, it almost enables Murillo and Tarkowski to be even better.
But the figures that people rely on from last season are inflated, number one, because Forest was suddenly amazing in defense.
But you're not inflating the numbers that they got last season. You're just showing what they would have got if they just got the defensive contributions. It had nothing to do with the expected clean sheets, right? So your value add is the DEFCON. If we have Nottingham Forest overperforming, that's obviously something that we don't expect again in terms of clean sheets. But we're just saying, if you were to set reasonable expectations for them, because they actually have some really good fixtures to start, and then you apply the DEFCON points, which feel a lot more reasonable than them getting 13 clean sheets like they did last year. That's all I'm saying.
Does
and they're
contribution
5.5, not 6.0.
Does defensive contribution add to baseline bonus?
No, but a player who gets a lot of defensive contributions will naturally be clocking up those stats that work towards getting bonus points.
Tackles do add to bonus, for example. So if you're tackling, you're also like working towards good bonus points.
Yeah, but it will happen organically, really, rather than being any sort of.
But for example, like let's go there, right? Murillo is good for that because he actually is the dominant ball playing defender of that team. So in the very kind of classic Saliba context of Arsenal win 1-0, no one does anything else, and Saliba gets 3 bonus points because he hits that sort of passing threshold. Murillo's the type of player who'd get there too. So we're not sort of picking all these picks because they're just good at DEFCON, but it's almost like they've been improved this season. Like, for example, last year we wouldn't have touched Murillo over Milenkovic, I think, because you're just thinking goal threat, Milenkovic is better. But now I think it's pretty close, and maybe I'd even pick Murillo, as I have in this case. Yeah.
I guess I'll have to see how things.
I've got to take you back on the Bruno point though, because I think part of FPL sometimes is you do want to go spicy upside, and maybe it's a Wirtz, maybe it's a Marmoush in the midfield position, but sometimes it's also you have some players who give you guarantees of points. So Bruno, obviously, a little bit less open play value when he moves to center mid. I think the numbers were something like 0.38 NPXGI, which is basically just the accumulation of your expected goals and then your expected assists.
5-character limit on stats.
5-character limit. Yeah. At least I'm not swearing, right? But the ad is okay. You take a little bit away from his kind of open play attacking numbers, but he's still under Amram someone who actually plays the full game. So there's going to be segments of the game where he plays attacking, and when he plays more defending, that actually kind of helps with defensive contributions because. If you were, once again, like if you were to look at the entire league and you look at the open play attackers, no one correlates well with kind of these defensive contribution points. It's only a few abnormal type picks who kind of play a mixture of center mid and 10 at times, which I think Lucas Paqueta and Bruno kind of do. And I would like to take the point because I think, Dan, you sort of... you made the point, which was like a comparison between a Dingler, right? A 5.5 midfielder. Yeah. If he scores a goal, which maybe is like a 9-pointer in a given match, and then you compare that to, let's say, Elliot Anderson, and I guess the concept behind Elliot Anderson is he gets 4 points every match, right?
Yeah.
But he doesn't, right? So over the run of like 5 to 7 games, he gets 2s and 4s mixed in between. But
there'll be 5s there as well, you know.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing, because like some of these picks still at the end of the day will have good chances of getting assists, things like that. Like when I look at some of the projections between a Bruno and a Wirtz, I don't think that it's hugely different. So, what am I missing here in terms of midfield position?
Yeah,
I would argue a lot.
You would
in the Bruno position, but I have history with Bruno, so
I do too, and a lot of it's bad, right?
Yeah.
But in a weird way, I still feel comfortable by a lot of his metrics, and as I said, I think that sort of defensive contribution thing has helped Bruno this season. It almost feels like instead of dealing with a blank from Bruno every week, which was what you mentioned last season, because he underperformed his finishing for the first time in I don't know how many years last season. That was part of the reason why he was so bad. He just wasn't scoring the same chances. But yeah, now I feel a bit more comfortable with him because even in the bad days, he could still get you 4 points.
Yeah.
And yeah, I might not be hurting so much as a Bruno owner.
Fair enough, but I think overall, obviously Salah, Palmer, Watkins are the locks in there. Pedro Porro, I actually love as a pick, especially without Madison.
Me too. For the set pieces.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be good.
So I really like that, and then I mean I've mentioned what I think about the rest, but outside of that, I think it's a definitely great analytics team, where you cover your bases and you do things sensibly.
But like I would say that. You know, going for those slightly different players in Jorginho and Paqueta, it's like you're doing it in the low risk places. So you're taking the risks in the low risk price points kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, you're covered with your main players, and if your 6 million midfielders only get 1 point or 2 points, it's like, well, yeah, they only cost 6 million. Like, what were our expectations anyway? But
I'm just glad you haven't gone for Ndai.
yeah, I'm seeing too much of him at the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Sim, you like this team other than Bruno Fernandes. You're saying that if you want to pick a midfielder who can get defensive contributions and takes corners, you may as well just pick Elliot Anderson for 5.5 million.
Yeah. The last concern with this team is just the amount of money in the front line. I feel like you haven't got enough in there. Because Watkins is a 9, then you got Strand Larson at 6.5 and then a 4.5.
Yeah.
I feel like you could possibly up that to an extra million, but you can't, just because you got quite a lot in defense with 3 5.5s. So that's the only other concern, where I feel like if, for example, I don't know, TK is blowing up, or somehow Isak goes, or you're trying to get to Haaland or anything like that.
You'd pull the money out of Fernandes, presumably.
Because he'd be blanking every week.
But no, you would,
but
wouldn't
you
you?
won't, right? So
He'll be 4-pointing.
Well, that's surely where you'd pull the money out if you needed to make an upgrade elsewhere.
Yeah, but what if Bruno is doing well, for example?
Wow, that's another question.
You know what I mean? It's hard to sell Salah and Palmer.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Well, maybe Palmer. All right, well, I think we move on to my team, which is kind of similar, but like almost the same. But yeah, 94% team rating on Fantasy Football Hub. Very nice indeed. Anything above 90%, I think, is always good. Okay, so I'm just going to read through my team quickly, and then we'll talk a little bit about it. So Sanchez in goal, same as pretty much everyone on planet Earth at the moment. Pedro Porro, Murillo, and Diouf of West Ham fame in defence. A midfield of Salah, Palmer, Bruno again, Sarr, and Arias. And up front, we have got Watkins, Joao Pedro, with a bench of Dubravka, Chris Richards, this Burnley defender that everyone seems to be obsessed with at the moment, and now I am as well. Steve, I'm calling him Steve because I don't actually know how to pronounce his name. Minecraft Steve, and Mark Gue as well there. So
good pronunciation there. People don't really know how to pronounce that.
Thanks. Fran, is it correct?
yeah, it was.
He's ex-Barca. You should ask me.
Oh yeah, true. Fran's Spanish, you're Barcelona.
Yes.
So okay, we're in good company there. Yeah. So I think the main difference between mine and your team, Fran, is that I've dropped a Tarkowski down to a Diouf essentially.
Yeah.
To free up $1 million to upgrade Joao Pedro, Cunha to Joao Pedro. The rest of the structure is pretty much identical. So, but other than I've got a 6.5 and a 5.5 rather than 2 6s. So I've got Sarr and Arias. I think the main players probably worth talking about are Diouf, Sarr, Arias, and maybe Richards. I think the rest is fairly straightforward. Diouf we can keep fairly brief. He has been an incredible attacking left back. And we certainly saw last season under Graham Potter, like West Ham really attacking with the wing backs. And last season, the beneficiary of that really was Wan-Bissaka. But it looked like from watching some pre-season games that actually Diouf is going to be the guy who bombs a little bit further forward, and actually maybe Wan-Bissaka having slightly more defensive responsibilities than last season. So Diouf is a left midfielder. Like, he's not really a left back. So you're going to get goals. You're going to get assists. We've already seen a little bit of that in pre-season. And yeah, the fixtures are not too bad for him. Like, Sunderland opening game is great. There are some other nuggets in there, I suppose. But really, I'd be looking to rotate Diouf and Pedro Porro with Richards and Steven. So Richards, I think, is like the most underrated player in FPL. Like, no shadow of a doubt. He's only just got above 1% ownership, like, as of the last couple of days. He was at like 0.3% like a couple of weeks ago, but I think people are slowly cottoning on. And what Richards does is he basically has a good fixture every time either Spurs or Nottingham Forest have a bad fixture. So a Crystal Palace defender, it doesn't have to be Richards. You can go Lacroix, you can go Munoz, and rotate them with your Pedro Porro or Van der Ven or Murillo or Nico Williams if you have that. So I think, yeah, there's just really nice rotations there. So that's why I've gone for Richards there on the bench. And then we come to Sar and Arias. And part of it is price points. Trying to have a 6.5, trying to have a 5.5. Arias is interesting. I think that's mostly just a punt, to be honest. But like, he's going to be on set pieces. So you're going to have access to points, whether they come or not, but you're going to have a route towards points. So yeah, free kicks, corners, he's going to be the guy. Could be a talisman, could be the new Cunha. Who knows? It's a bit of a punt there, but he's 5.5 million, man. And there's not too much going on there. The boring answer would just be to throw in Elliot Anderson instead. The boring answer would be to throw in Dye instead of Sar. So I think that's probably where you can maybe make some changes to this team. But Sar, I think his fixtures are underrated. I think a lot of people burnt by him last season, particularly because people expected that Sar would perform better in better fixtures. But he's more of a counter-attacking player. So here's a stat for you guys. So last season, Sar played Aston Villa, who was game week 3 fixture, by the way. He played Aston Villa 4 times, twice in the league, FA Cup, League Cup. If one of them he blanked, that was the League Cup game, I believe. He blanked in that game. But in the other 3 games, he had 5 goals and 2 assists, I believe, in those other 3 games against Aston Villa, because Aston Villa play with possession, play with a high line, and allows a player like Sar to, counter-attack that. Chelsea also a possession-based team, so I actually think, maybe there's an opportunity to get some points there. Nottingham Forest in the middle there sounds like an easier fixture than Chelsea or Aston Villa, but actually I think that's a bit of a horror fixture for Sar. I would really kind of want to bench Sar for that because he's doing nothing. Forest are going to sit with somehow 12 men behind the ball. Where do they get the extra man? I don't know. That's just what they do. Nuno's come on the pitch. He's standing in goal as well. And Sar's probably going to struggle there. But then after that, the fixtures are nice. I probably expect him to play better against Aston Villa than I do against Sunderland. Like, that's kind of the kind of player he is. But anyway, thoughts and feelings towards mostly those players I just spoke about. Do you want to start us off, Fran?
Yeah, I'll go for it. I've also watched Gio from the preseason, and he's pretty nuts. Like, especially when you look at his underlyings, they looked really good. And then when you get that kind of confirmed with early, eye test, it looked splendid. Like, I think the big difference between him and Wan-Bissaka is he's a much more accomplished crosser of the ball. So I just tended to notice that sort of volume of crossing in a similar way to how a lot of us were rating like Leif Davis last season. But of course, he plays for a much better team in comparison to, let's say, Ipswich.
Can I make a quick note on the crossing thing? Because this is something that I have been thinking about a little bit of, like crossing players. We've got Pedro Porro there as well. So obviously, the FPL rules on assists have changed slightly this season. So, if you attempt to cross, no matter where it ends up, you are going to get the assist point if whoever ends up with the ball scores the goal. So there is genuine benefit from picking crossing players more so now than perhaps last year. But anyway, sorry to interrupt.
No, you're right. Yeah, and I think that example you talked about of like Marmoush getting that or not getting the assist to Bernardo Silva last season, like maybe Juve is in those positions. Yeah, in the midfield, I actually really like Sar. My first draft had Sar. I don't know why I'm off Sar, to be honest.
Because he burnt everyone last season. He caused
yeah.
so much pain last season. People are scarred.
That Sar versus Eze run.
Don't.
He was so good versus Liverpool in the Community Shield.
But that's, again, it's because Liverpool
you're right.
High line.
And he had probably the best chances out of Mateta, Eze, and himself included. So
scored, didn't he?
And
he scored, drew the penalty, and I think even had close to a tap-in off of like a Mateta loose header. The only pick I don't love, I guess, is just Arias, because maybe it's just because I haven't seen him do it in the Prem. But I also just tend to think I don't know if his minutes are perfect starting with this Wolves team. Like, I'm not sure if he's as key a piece as Cunha. But actually, I like Sar and João Pedro. Part of me thinks I also question like why I don't have João Pedro or Mateta, and obviously Sim sort of pointed that out in the 6.5 position. But I also think that at every price point, if you're comfortable with someone, he feels safe, you can always stick with that. But with the João Pedro pick, I think he's got the most potential, the 7.5s, to have a hot start. We don't expect the most minutes from him, but like in theory, he's maybe the hottest player in the preseason.
Yeah.
If you include Club World Cup as well,
Yeah.
like
Gabriel Jesus of this season, no?
yeah.
Oh,
And-
don't say that. He's another player I bought last
Yeah.
season and got scarred by him. Got injured
But I
the
guess
day after I
first
bought him.
season Gabriel Jesus was
That's
different,
that's
right?
that's what I'm talking about. He's scoring.
He almost
every
made
game.
everyone buy him
Yeah.
within the first 2 to 3 weeks. Like I
Yeah.
wouldn't be shocked if that happened. When you look at those Crystal Palace or those Chelsea fixtures, rather, they're just that good.
Yeah.
So I can see that. It's pretty much only the Arias pick that I don't love. And with Richards, I have to say I think you're right. Maybe I own Anderson, so I'm biased, but I think
I like both, by the way. I
I think
Anthony,
him and
good in drafts.
Richards. Yeah, I agree with you there because these are both teams that are comfortably mid-table or better as defenses, and they're just at an absolute steal of a price point. And I think a lot of people do miss with Richards too that he is absolutely nailed in this team. Like there's no worries with him whatsoever. If Gehi leaves, that's even better. But he was playing every single game for Crystal Palace since Chalobah left the club, and that's a little bit underrated because when people kind of look back at last season's points, like you won't see him on there.
Yeah, he had an injury. He was injured for a few months as well. There,
But he will be there.
And both Richards and Anderson are kind of good for defensive contributions. I think Anderson's
Yeah.
better though, right?
They're similar.
Like, but
Yeah.
it's, maybe negligible there. Sim, you got any strong feelings about my team?
I really like this. I
Yeah.
really like this. I think it subtly addresses the challenges I had with Fran's draft.
Oh, by having Bruno replaced with Bruno.
No. Obviously, the Bruno thing is consistent, right? But like, there's a bit more money up front. Saar, I feel like, is a great option. I agree with you. I don't really like the Arias pick as much either.
Okay.
But
I get that, by the way.
I suspect that will change by the time.
But fair enough, you still have options to move to, right?
exactly.
So
I don't really know where I want to go. Like, there's always the fullback. Oh, do I just go Elliot Anderson and just fall asleep every time I watch not like my FPL team?
Reindeers, however you say his name, the Man City guy.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe it could do.
I want to be there as well.
Yeah.
But it does feel like,
he-
especially with
even
this
Adingra.
3-5-2, it feels rough if he suddenly doesn't start a game and your eighth attacker is you. but I do feel like this season the defender's a bit stronger, right? Like I feel a bit more comfortable with my first person on the bench being a defender because his floor is in theory higher than he would have been.
Yeah.
With the Richards, for example, like in your draft.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I like this. I think the Diouf pick, fair enough. I've not watched them in preseason. I think that makes sense. I mirror the same challenges that I had with Bruno, but otherwise, no. I think this is a solid draft.
Yeah. Well, similar. Both me and Fran kind of similar teams there.
Yeah.
However, there's one team that stands above the rest.
I don't know about above.
That stands below the rest. And this is your team, Sim. Do you want to read us through the players, and then we'll maybe pick out some players that we haven't spoken about today, which is like most of the team?
Listen, I love this team.
Okay.
I love this team, and I'll read through the team first.
Yeah,
So
go.
I got Verbruggen in goal. I got Pedro Porro, Ait-Nouri, and Wan-Bissaka in defense. Given what I've heard about Diouf today, that probably is going to change. In midfield, I've got Saka, Wirtz, Palmer, and Gakpo. And then up front, I've got Jared Bowen, Ollie Watkins, and João Pedro. On the bench, I've got Dubravka, like everybody else. I've got Reindeers as my fifth attacker. I've got Guehi, and I've got Reynaldo as my fifth defender. So, talking through the options, starting from the goalkeeper, I don't want a 5 million or a 5.5 million goalkeeper. I've only got two options. It's Kelleher and Verbruggen. Kelleher's not fit, so I have Verbruggen. Petrovic, I don't know.
Is Verbruggen fit?
Is Verbruggen not fit?
He was like close last
Yeah.
time I read. But like you have Dubravka to come. I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah.
That's for game week 1. But
Yeah.
you know,
I mean,
if
look,
the 5% chance he wasn't.
Technically, I've still got 500,000 there, right? So
okay. So you could go to Sanchez like the rest of us.
I could go to Sanchez if I need to, but I ideally don't want to do that, and I tend to want to keep 500,000 in the bank.
Sure.
When I start the season, just because of price changes and stuff, so I don't get hamstrung. But that's why I've got the goalkeeper. In defense, Pedro Porro, we've all got him. I think he's going to be a great option. I'm hoping that under Thomas Frank, they're a little bit better in terms of their defense. But that set pieces, I just need part of that action. Ait-Nouri, haven't seen him in many drafts.
No.
And I think he's phenomenal. I think he's an absolute dynamite pick. And people are going to tell me, all right, Pep Roulette. People are going to tell me he's not. We don't know if he's nailed. We don't know even, like, Vardiol can obviously play left back. I think he's going to play. I think he's going to play, and I think he's going to be phenomenal. That the left back position is a great position for City anyway. And Pep said it himself, where it's like, it doesn't matter who the hell is in that position. When you're there, you tend to get into the action. And Aït-Nouri was doing crazy things at Wolves. So I just don't see how he doesn't get some really good returns in the start of the game week, in the start of the season. It's also a 6 million pick. I think probably something that I dislike about your teams, which I didn't mention actually, was a lack of a 6 million defender. Where Frimpong takes off, Kxxssl takes off, Aït-Nouri takes off. You guys are a little bit trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to get to it? It's a 2-position transfer. I think having someone in that price point is important for me, particularly given how I may be inflexible because of my lack of Salah and Haaland. And then Wan-Bissaka, I need some of that Burnley action, basically. Sorry, that Sunderland action. But again, I could probably change that to Diouf, but Wan-Bissaka, wing back, you know what I mean? Like, very attacking sometimes. I mean, he may not be the best crosser of the ball, but he tries. So
that's the important thing, right?
And then in midfield, so I've obviously not gone Salah here. And I'm not saying this is going to be my final draft. I may go Haaland, I may go Salah, I may keep it like this. But I built this draft because I just much preferred how much more I could get out of my team and how much reliable options I could still have in my team without Salah. And Saka is a brilliant FPL pick who is inaccessible right now to so many people. He played Leeds in Game Week 2.
Yeah.
And
captain potential
exactly. There. He's a captain option. He's super differential right now, particularly amongst the engaged crowd. And it's just not talked about because of Salah and because of Palmer's great fixtures. So to me, it just feels like such a great opportunity. I don't want to go down the route of, Salah's not been great in preseason or whatever. It's preseason. Salah will be great. Like I'm not denying that he's gonna be like I'm not saying he's gonna be shit or anything. Sorry.
Well, that's strike 2.
Sorry, but I think there is some legs to the view that less may go through Salah this season, given how poor the attackers were last season and how much we're expecting the attackers to be better this season. We saw how little went through him during the Community Shield, for example. Again, I'm not saying he's going to be poor. I just don't think he'll be as game-breaking as he was last season. And a lot of people may think, it's crazy to go without Salah. Oh, how can you do that? You want to lose the game, whatnot. Everyone started without Salah last season. Almost everyone started without Salah last season. It's just because he's had a great year that everyone's starting with him this year. The year before that, Haaland broke the goal scoring record. It was crazy to go without Haaland. We all started with Haaland, even though he's 15 million. Like, it's just the way of the game, right? It's, in my opinion, it's just because of where we are in the season and what happened last year that everyone thinks Salah is so essential. I argue that there's probably more that I've squeezed out without him here. And on top of that, in case Liverpool stop absolutely peppering teams, I've got Wirtz and Gakpo. And I think both of them are arguably nailed. Both of them are definitely going to be involved. I mean, Gakpo was very involved. Could have scored. Did he score? I feel like he didn't score, but he had one great opportunity, which he kind of scuffed. Seems to be very involved in the attack. A lot went down the left side and the middle during that game. Ekitike, Wirtz, and Gakpo as a trio link up very well. So I love that. But again, I think Gakpo is one position that may change, but at the moment, I really like it. And then up front, I've avoided Fulkrug for now, but if I do want to readjust this team, I could go Fulkrug or even Evan Nilsson, who I love as a pick, who again just isn't seemingly getting the love right now, just because of that Liverpool fixture.
Yeah, his fixtures after Game Week 1 are pretty decent.
Brilliant.
Yeah, they're pretty
decent.
decent.
Absolutely brilliant. And it's just gutting because I'm desperate for that Sunderland fixture at the start of the season. But I could just as easily just do Bowen down to Evan Nilsson in Game Week 2. Watkins, just to lock in my team, very reliable, very happy to have him in there. And João Pedro is a balance between EO and I think he's just going to do well. Because I'm without Salah and Haaland, I don't want to then also be absolutely terrorized by João Pedro, who's owned by over half the game. But he's been great. He's great at the World Cup. He just can't stop scoring. Yeah. I expect he'll get a goal or two in the first 3 games. So I just want to be there.
João Pedro is a super interesting one because I think a lot of us are saying, like, telling ourselves, "Oh no, he's going to get rotated. He's not nailed on for minutes with the lap players, blah blah blah." But I think sometimes you've just got to pick the player who's in form, in a good spot in their career, and just roll with it and see if they can carry on.
Is there even a universe where João Pedro plays in a 10, for example?
I think.
Does he become that good? Like he was like that at Brighton, where Palmer can happily play at the right wing.
Yeah.
They can even play 2 10s. Like the gaffer, I forget his name now, Maresca. He seems to be very positional and tactical in terms of how he plays people, and I feel like he could. There's a universe where he plays like them as like 2 10s almost.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like João Pedro is gonna be a minutes risk early on. I just think he's gonna play so well that it becomes hard to drop him.
Yeah, even if he plays 59 minutes, if he scored 2 goals, assisted in those 59 minutes, you're not going to care about that extra point for the
exactly
for playing 60 minutes, are you? But you're so right, and I think it's very obvious that if you take out Salah or Haaland, your attack is pretty much flawless. The flaw being that there's no Salah or Haaland. But outside of that, it's very nice. So it looks good. But are you worried a bit about not having a captain necessarily on some weeks?
I do.
Are you happy to just move the captain's armband around? Palmer, Saka, Watkins, Bowen game week 1, maybe? I don't know.
You're captaining Salah against Bournemouth. You don't have a great captain.
I think so. Given the fact the Bournemouth's defensive turnover over the summer is crazy.
Fair enough, but I'm just not buying it. I think Palmer against Palace, very solid option. Saka against Leeds game week 2, very solid option. Watkins, I can't remember his game week 3 fixture, but he's got a solid game week 3 fixture. And Salah plays Arsenal in game week 3.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of people might even be considering going against Salah in that game week anyway. So I think I can go toe to toe with Salah over those first 2 game weeks, and if I need to make a call by game week 3, game week 4, the wild card's there.
Okay, Fran, how terrible is this team?
I actually think this is really good.
Yeah, I can't lie. I don't hate it as much as I make it out. I really don't. It's nice, right?
I think I'd still probably spend a bit more in defense if I could. Like the point around Ait Nouri, I think I don't care for it so much because I just tend to think this season we have so many good 5.5 and 5 million defender options that it doesn't really matter whether you're shopping for 6s or 5.5s. But I actually think his minutes are underrated still. Same with Tijani Reinders as well. But I guess I just think, what are you even rotating here week on week in the attack? Do you even need to?
Yeah, you need him.
So this is the thing. He's there in case he pops off.
Yeah,
right.
It's hard to play him, right? But if he does start to pop off and I need to play him, I can.
You maybe try a 2-5-3 formation one week.
Just bench boost every single week.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's there just in case. To be honest with you, like the draft that I had with Salah, he was playing. But
makes sense.
once you take Salah out, it's hard to have him playing and justify it.
Yeah. So in that sense, could you drop him to a 5? Could you go Dewsbury Hall there? It's
But I still want him because
Do you want him just to have him?
I want him because he scores in game week 1. He's gonna go up point 2.
In price, yeah.
You're like a possessive husband.
Yeah.
You just want to. You're not actually interested in them. You just don't want anyone else to have them.
Yeah, exactly.
I see.
And yeah, the other bench options, I think Guehi could be anyone really. Reynaldo could be anyone. Dubravka's Dubravka. Everyone's got him.
Yeah, it's an interesting team. I think, Reinders is maybe the problem. I would maybe something I would change in that team, possibly.
From a price point perspective?
Yeah, maybe. But more so that, owning Reinders outside of Christmas just feels like a bad idea. Just wait till December, bring him out, get his big red nose out, and maybe he can lead you to all of the children's houses. If that's what
what's interesting? This draft has the same team rating as Fran's draft.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
But that proves that there's different ways of playing this. The midfield pool of players this year is crazy. The defender pool of players this year is crazy. The forwards pool of players, maybe not so much.
Yeah.
Goalkeepers, not so much. But, there's options in defence and midfield for sure. All right, well, who wants to play a game? You're all meant to say,
Sweet.
me, I would love to play a
Me.
game. That sounds amazing. Yeah, I've prepared a game for today's episode of Stick to FPL. This is maybe a bit of a tester to see if this game works in practice as well as it works in my head. But this game is called, I couldn't really think of a name for the game. Who's that player? Maybe someone in the comments can come up with a slightly more creative name for the game. But here's the premise. I've got 3 different players. We're going to go one by one. You've got to identify who the football player, the FPL asset, who they are, and you're going to get 3 clues. And based on which clue you answer at will define how many points you get. So if you can answer after the first clue, and you get it correct, 3 points. If you get it after the second clue, 2 points. If you get it after the third clue, only 1 point for you. If you don't get it, you don't get points, obviously. But here's the twist. You can only buzz in once. So don't buzz in unless you think... Actually, should we change that?
No, I like that.
Or actually, no. You know what? I think it would be more fun if we let you guess at every point. But
then you'll just
As in, like,
overguess.
every clue? Every clue you get one guess? Yeah, I think that makes sense.
yeah, that might be more fun.
Okay.
I don't know how it would
Yeah.
work with the buzzer situation. Yeah. Buzz in or bell in. You test your bell, Fran. Perfect. Bell in, Fran, buzz in, Sim. When you think
Is
you
it
know.
a race? Like, do I have to buzz first?
Yeah,
of course.
yeah. First buzz gets first guess.
Okay.
But if you buzz, we're talking like 3 seconds. If you don't answer within those seconds, it passes to the other person.
Okay,
So you can't
right.
just buzz
Yeah,
in
yeah.
immediately and just steal the time. Okay, so all get the premise of the game.
Yep.
Happy? Everyone at home happy? Yeah, it sounded like you were saying yes. Okay, so who's that player? Number 1. This midfielder has just joined their... Go ahead.
Stop.
3.
But
Wrong. I'll finish the clue for you, Fran, because it's passed over to you now. This midfielder has just joined their second Premier League club to play in striped shirts.
God, I know who it is.
You do you?
Yes.
Do you actually?
I think it'll do.
Oh, maybe we'll get after clue number 2 then.
I'll pass.
You'll pass? Okay, fine. Clue number 2. This player has represented their African country 22 times, scoring 3 goals.
Yeah, you've lost me at Africa.
Oh.
Yeah. You're thinking Elanga, right?
African country. Bonus clue, it's not Elanga, he's not African.
Yeah.
No, as in before. Obviously, I didn't. That wasn't my answer.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. He is Swedish. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. It's all right. You're not going to get cancelled today, Brad. You're fine. All right. No one fancies buzzing in on that one. Go on then.
No God.
African.
What's wrong with you?
I forgot about the African bit.
Nah.
I forgot about the African
Nah,
bit.
just cancel this.
I forgot
guys.
about the African
Also,
bit.
two teams with striped shirts. What 2 teams with striped shirts has
I
Norgard
don't know.
played
I was
for?
just thinking Brentford,
He
Arsenal's technically striped.
joined a team with stripes. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he's joined his second
exactly,
team
exactly.
to play in striped shirts in the Premier League.
My brain's just off. So.
African.
Yeah. All right. The third clue is like the giveaway. So fingers on the pulse.
All right.
Right. This player costs 5.5 million in FPL.
Adingra.
Correct. 1 point.
We should have got Adingra ages ago. We should have got
you're
that
right.
ages ago.
Is it? But the clues get easier.
No,
as
but we
go
should have got it by the second question.
We should. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're
on.
right.
I think you should have probably.
It's just.
The
Yeah.
striped shirt one, maybe.
I don't
know,
I
it's
don't
a
even
bit
think
rogue,
about any of
right?
these promoted teams really.
That's
Sorry.
the thing. Just complete. I was thinking like
I'm sorry
Brentford.
to say it.
Yeah, but I think he's kind of FPL relevant, so I thought maybe
No,
you
you're
might
right,
get
you're
that
right,
one.
You're right.
All right, let's go with player number 2. This player started their senior career in the Netherlands. What do we think?
Tijani Reinders?
Wrong. Sorry. Over
Sorry.
to you, Sim.
Dutch.
Ooh.
And he's a player in the Premier League.
He started his senior career in the Netherlands.
Are all these questions about current FPL players?
They are all current FPL players.
Okay. I mean, I don't know many Dutch players, to be honest with you. Is Ekatike Dutch?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Right, clue number 2. This winger scored 7 goals and 5 assists in the Premier League last season.
It's a lot of wingers.
So it's not a new face. You are familiar with this player. You've watched him play. You've seen him do his business. Started his senior career in the Netherlands. And 7 goals and 5 assists last season. And he's a winger. The third clue is the big giveaway. But does anyone fancy a punt?
Do you want to go first?
I don't have anyone. The thing is, I don't know who played in the Netherlands.
Mohamed Kudus?
No. But that's a good guess. That is a very, very good guess. In fact, I don't actually know how many goals and assists Kudus got last season. That might even be correct.
No, I have no clue. I have no clue.
That has the potential to be accidentally correct. You got anything, Sim?
7 goals. I feel like he plays for Forest. Like all the wingers there got 7 goals, 5 assists.
Yeah, it feels like it. Yeah. Kind of the rule.
I mean, is Hudson-Odoi even in the Premier League?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plays for
Still
Forest.
plays.
Is he still?
Forest.
Is he still there?
Still
Oh, okay,
Forest,
go on
still
then.
there,
Hudson-Odoi.
No, wrong. Sorry. What did I don't think he played in the Netherlands.
Well, I don't know any players who played in the Netherlands.
Okay, yeah, fine. That may have thrown you for a loop here. Okay.
Frankie de Jong.
This is the no. This is the clue that hopefully will give it away. This player will play against Liverpool in game week 3.
Oh, 3.
Yeah.
So he plays.
So you've got to know your FPL stuff here.
That's 3
Madueke.
seconds. That's 3 seconds. That's 4 and 3 seconds.
Madueke.
I'm afraid you were maybe a little bit too long on that one.
What? That was not 3 seconds.
Yeah, that's fair. When does his senior career start though? Because Madueke was always actually no, he played for PSV, but then wasn't he a youth prospect from another club?
Yes, but that's why I specified senior career.
Yeah, fair.
And that the first clue is always to try and throw you off a little bit. So you were saying,
good.
Dutch player, no, English.
Yeah, Dutch sent me.
Yeah.
All right, okay. Player number 3. So you're on 2 points currently, Sim. Fran, you're gonna need to get him first or second guess.
Oh.
Pressure's on, my friend. Okay. This player plays for a Premier League club who didn't receive a single penalty last season. Yeah. Which team is that though? Fran, I thought you would know.
Strand Larson?
No. The incorrect answer. Sim?
Well, obviously, I'm trying to find the Wolves player that you got to pick here, and I think because you picked,
It doesn't have to be Wolves.
No. There are other clubs.
I know, but
So I don't want to throw you off too much.
I'm gonna stay down that road,
I don't think you should.
and I'm gonna try to use some psychology here.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've got Arias in your FPL team, so I feel
Okay.
like
All right, go for
I feel like there's some bias towards putting him in the quiz.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say Arias.
You are absolutely correct. Man. What? How you get that so easily?
Cash money, baby.
I think, but the thing is, I almost gave Sim a clue there.
Yeah.
No, because I was thinking which Wolves player was he gonna go for?
Right,
Oh,
okay.
did you know that Wolves didn't?
Yeah,
get
yeah,
penalty
yeah.
last season?
Just because I was basically earlier on when you guys were talking about
Pens.
Strand Larson taking penalties.
You were thinking, oh, he's
I
not
was
gonna get
thinking,
one.
no, because I was joking with a friend. Because remember that guy who's a Wolves fan? I was gonna ask him who's gonna take the penalties as
Yeah.
well. So I thought I'd ask him real quick. But also I realized they don't take pens, and I was like, oh, actually, this is one that connects. And eventually, the Arias thing, I was like, yeah, that's definitely something.
Maybe I gave it away by putting him in my team. Yeah. Fair play. Like you've worked for a lot. Well,
Call me Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I think that was fun.
Yeah,
If nothing else, maybe we'll do that again next week.
5-0 whitewash. Respect. Who's my
know,
next
man.
opponent?
Yeah. It's me, and I'm also writing the questions. So 9-0.
Oh.
Okay. Right. The next game. I don't know if this is a game or not. To be honest, I gave it a name though. This one has a good name. I actually have 2 options for names. So the aim of this game is me and you are going to try and convince Fran, our guest, who is the best captain choice for game week 1, but we can't pick Salah.
Okay.
So we got to go slightly out of the box here.
Okay.
And this is called Captain My Captain.
Way.
Because we got to convince Fran to captain our captains. Or I thought, if we left this for the end of the show, maybe we could call it Cap It Off.
Oh yeah.
So that would, we got 2 working titles there for that one. Last game doesn't really have a title, but this is a work in progress, right, guys? So let's go with Captain My Captain. I like that.
Captain, my captain.
Well, Yeah, that feels a little on the
Same thing.
nose.
Oh,
Captain. Yeah, I was trying to do a little twist on it.
okay.
Yeah, like.
It's modern, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Saving a word.
It's more hip. It's more down with the kids. Down diggy diggy.
Do you want to go first?
No, because I don't know who you've got.
Well, I don't know who you've got either.
Yeah, but I've got a reserve. Have you got a reserve just in case I say yours?
I could do a reserve.
You could do a reserve.
Yeah.
Jared Bowen. Sunderland. First game of the season. Jared Bowen, a very reliable man. He scored 13 goals, 12 assists, something like that last season. You know what you're getting with him. He is reliable. He is smashing it in pre-season, building this partnership with Fulkrug, playing off each other. West Ham, more attacking than ever, with the creativity of Juve on the wing. Captain, my captain, Jared Bowen. Yeah, that's the part that you have to say captain, my captain at the end.
Okay.
That adds a little bit of spice to it. Okay.
And do I have the opportunity to crap on your option, or do I only have to promote my option?
You
No,
are
that's
not-
unfair to the
you're
person
not
who goes
appealing
first,
to
though,
me.
I think.
But he can rebut, I guess.
You're not appealing to me. You're appealing to Fran.
Okay. My captain option is Cole Palmer. A reliable, understood, known option that everyone has in their team, right? My captain, you should captain, because they've just come off the back of winning the Club World Cup. He's clearly feeling himself, braced in the final. That system has finally clicked. And they're playing at Crystal Palace that are probably a little bit hungover in game week 1.
Still. Sorry, no rebuttals.
And I'm not going to poo on his option, but there's plenty that I know, is a problem with his captaincy. Please, captain, my captain.
Well, the thing is, I obviously would captain Palmer, but I actually think Dan sales pitch was that was good. He sold me a pen, and yeah, I'll captain Bowen.
Yes. You know what? If you just watched all of these games, just got everything, won everything today, I would be upset. So, I'm glad I won that one,
Yeah.
even though technically I had the weaker player, but perhaps the stronger argument.
You're selling to the man.
Yeah, there you go. All right, well, that was all right. We might bring that back next week. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. You know what?
But
that was one of those games that was named first,
Yeah.
game after. Oh dear. Right. Finally, I guess we need to start the season off with differential of the week. Have you got a differential today, Fran? I didn't ask you.
What
to
is
bring it.
sub 5?
Sub 5% owned player?
Come on.
Can I be honest?
Do not
I actually don't know
disrespect
ownership at all.
differential of the week by that lackluster intro. This is the greatest segment to have ever existed in any FPL podcast ever.
I think Captain My Captain might get a run for his money this season. I can't lie. Or guess who's that player or whatever.
The greatest segment is Stick to FPL history.
The only segment in FPL history. Stick to FPL history.
Differential of the week returned to your screens after a few months out, and this season it's not going to be anywhere near as close as it was last season because Dan's going to beat me by 50 points.
Yeah.
But we are going to try again, and Fran's going to have a think about his differential of the week.
Yeah.
But why don't we start off with your differential of the week, Dan?
Okay.
And you can't pick Mbermo.
Mbermo gate. Mark 2. Oh, man. Okay. I forgot to prepare a differential of the week.
You didn't...
I have some differentials in my head that I know.
Okay. I'm going to do my differential
You
of the
go
week.
first whilst I
And
quickly...
the worst part is I forgot who I picked as well.
I know who you
I picked...
You've already mentioned them in
Here we
show.
go. I picked the actual best captain option from West Ham. It is Fulkrug, who's playing up front. The only striker in West Ham that is actually categorized as a striker. And I think against Sunderland is a great option. The only concern here is I think because West Ham are away from home, Sunderland first time in the league in a while, it might be a little bit of a feisty match, and Fulkrug may not have as many opportunities as one would hope. So I think it's a safe start. Safe start to the season, about 3% owned.
2.8. So yeah, you're well within the threshold.
Yeah, but I think it's a reasonable option.
Okay, nice. I have two. I don't know which one to choose. I'm gonna go bold. I'm gonna go for Ismail Assar. No, not Ismail Assar. Pape Matasar.
Oh,
Ooh,
I was
sorry.
say SAR's
Okay.
under
Yeah,
5%.
Yeah, Ismail Assar I think is below, but he's playing Chelsea. I want to go more differential. So
Okay.
Pape Matasar is currently 2.2% selected.
Why not Brennan Johnson?
It feels boring.
Brennan Johnson feels boring.
No. Like for a differential of the week, I want to put.
Well, I thought
out
you like a no Salah draft or whatever.
Brennan Johnson is in my Salah draft.
I see.
Yeah. Pape Matasar playing central attacking midfielder currently in the Spurs pre-season. I don't know how long that's going to last, so I don't know if I would necessarily pick him for my FPL team, because if Spurs sign a new attacker, Savinho's linked at the moment apparently, maybe that shifts things around a little bit. Maybe Kudus comes in centrally, but in the preseason, Sarr's been playing attacking midfielder, and he's been cooking. He's been their player of the preseason, if such an award exists. Scored against Arsenal, scored against, who else was it? I can't remember who else they played. Was it Newcastle or Forest or something like that?
How have Spurs been lining up their front four at the moment?
Yeah, so it's been Sarr behind the striker, which has been Richarlison, while Solanke's been unavailable. And then it's been Johnson on the left and Kudus on the right. So assuming they line up similarly to that game week 1 against Burnley, then, it's Sarr's going to be in a lot of the right positions, could potentially get defensive contributions as well, because the Frank... attacking midfielder is not like, they have defensive responsibilities, so it's certainly possible. So yeah, I think given his preseason form, if he plays in the position, given the fixture, I think it's an interesting shout and certainly differential, and that is the point of differential of the week. All right, Fran,
Let's keep to that spirit.
Fran,
Yeah, that's a good point actually. I might just go. This could age like milk, but I'll just go with Charleston.
Okay.
Yeah, for 1 week only. If Solanke's timeline doesn't fit it, Burnley at home, striker. Still, is he a midfielder this year? Maybe still forward, actually.
I don't know. I've not even looked at him.
Nobody's
Yeah, I
considered it. I don't know how much he costs.
No, neither do I. I have no clue.
Yeah.
I'm going to find out. He might even be over 5% owned. I wouldn't know.
There's no chance.
Yeah, good luck to those players.
6.5 million forward. Yeah.
How much percentage is he owned?
1.1.
Wow.
So
It's
you're
pretty
well
high.
within.
Great.
Well within.
But yeah, if I was to pick a pick that people could seriously go with in their FPL teams to start, I'd still go Jorginho Rutter versus Fulham at home, which is not a great game, but I'm backing him to be a pretty talismanic figure for Brighton this year, a la João Pedro last year. So
Okay, Charleston. He's a player that works for differential of the week.
he does, yeah.
We'll put it that way.
Just about squeeze him in.
Yeah. Not a player anyone is ever picking. Come on, let's be real. All right, well, that is going to be the end of the show today. I hope you guys have enjoyed a slightly different format that we've been running with today. It's not super different, but a bit more fun. I think. So I've enjoyed myself, at least. Even if you guys hated it, I had a good time. That is for the quiz only, Sim. The buzzer is for quiz only.
Which you lost.
Yeah. Fran, you got anything to shout out? You got your YouTube channel, TikTok, you've got your podcast as well.
Just on YouTube, on TikTok, you feel free to follow me there. But thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah.
What's your handle?
Always a
My
pleasure.
handle is FPL__ Fran on Twitter.
Yeah.
And then on other platforms, it's just FPL Fran.
Sweet. And Sim. Anyway, that's going to be the end of the show today. Thank you for watching once again, and we'll be back next week for another Stick to FPL episode. Bye-bye.